Honore, welcome back to our fifth and final segment in this mini series on your new book, Write Your First Nonfiction Book. One of the things that I, one of the many things I really like about this book, and also about your other books on writing, is that you talk about stuff that I don't see a lot of other, I guess I would say, writing teachers talking about. And one of the things is book bonuses and doing things that help maintain the author reader relationship. What's the deal with that exactly? Why do we need to be paying more attention to building a relationship with our readers?
Well, that's a great question. And I think it has a couple of different answers. One of them is I'm going to throw back to our previous conversation and say that having a compact book allows a reader to think, oh, I can read this. I
Mhm.
can read this. It won't take a ton of time to read it. Having bonuses allows you to, outside of the content of the book, provide information and resources and extra material to the reader that they can opt into or not based on their level of interest, their timing, and what it is that they need. So rather than including everything in the book and making a bigger book, you can simultaneously commence the author reader relationship
Mm.
and deepen the author reader relationship by saying, hey, get the book's bonuses, which then they get more content and information if they want it. They also then are on the author's email list, allowing this dialogue to start. Because
Yeah.
let's face it, I've sold some copies of this book to people I do not know and may never know unless they join my email list. They get an email from me and they say, hey, I got your book and I got these bonuses. I have a question or I have a comment or whatever. Like the books are bought at online retailers. I don't know who they are. I don't know who the
Yeah.
people are. So unless they tell me,
Right.
I don't know. And so book bonuses are a way for an author to create a connection with their readers that is outside of that retail situation, not taking anything away from retail, because I'm not trying to get them to buy books directly from me. That's not the end game. I'm not trying to take something away from anyone. I'm trying to add something to the reader. So you can then create lots of cool things to add to your bonuses that will benefit your readers and enrich that relationship.
Now, in all of your books, okay, for example, I'm holding this one up right here. You have a special invitation.
Mhm,
I think in pretty much every book that you have, right? This is the way that you've structured them.
mhm.
So you have a special invitation right up front. Is that always is that always the only place that it should go? Or I've seen other books, like I think the Miracle Morning, or some of the books in the Miracle Morning, they
Mhm.
have the same invitation at the front and the back. Is that overkill to have it in both places, or is it okay just to put it up front?
Well, you can do whatever you want. It's your book.
True,
There's some
true.
some things to consider. I put an invitation in the front. I don't repeat it in the back. There's an argument for putting it in the front and the back because if you miss it in the front, if you buy the Kindle version of any book is pretty much going to take you right to the
Yeah,
introduction or chapter one,
yeah.
skipping over the front matter of the book. You actually have to go in search of the front matter. You have to go in search of the table
Okay.
of contents and those sorts of sometimes the introduction. So depending upon how the retailer has structured where you go in the book, the reader may never see that. So Hal in the Miracle Morning books wanted it in the front and the back because we knew that. So that
Okay.
makes sense.
Okay.
I don't repeat it in the back. I actually sprinkle the bonuses throughout the book.
Right. Which I love that strategy. It's like such a I'm trying to think of a word that represents like a really smart, ingenious strategy, but I couldn't come up with anything. So I'll just say smart and ingenious.
Okay, perfect. I'll take it, and I'll take that compliment. Thank you. From someone who's smart and a genius, I'll take that.
It's debatable,
I
but
I
I'll go with
see
it.
you. I see you.
I
And
felt seen.
I and and we could be here all day doing this,
It's like
right?
such a Gen Z thing. I can say that
Yeah,
because my son's Gen Z.
I like it.
You
I
know,
like it. I
I
think
felt
I
so
think my
seen.
daughter is too. Yeah, I like it. Okay. All right, I'm gonna sit with that, but not right now. Okay. So so the bonuses are sprinkled throughout the book. And I used to try to do like, here's this URL for this bonus, and here's this URL for this bonus, and here's this URL for this bonus. And Lord have mercy, that's a lot of URLs,
It's a lot of
especially
stuff.
if you
Yeah.
write more than one book. So I try to just distill everything down so it's very, very simple. So I create one URL, and it's actually an opt-in and with an autoresponder email that has the bonuses. So it
Okay.
can be just one email that people get right away. So they opt in, they get the confirmation, they get the email with the bonuses, they can download them, go to the links, whatever that looks like, right? Explore the bonuses as they apply to the book.
Yes.
And then they are on my email list. And so now we have this relationship, they have the bonuses, everybody wins, but it's one URL throughout the entire book. And so there's no real need to repeat it in the back because they should have seen it a number of times throughout the book.
So the idea with this is that they get on your list, you deliver the bonuses, and then there's something in that email that they get with the bonuses that say, "Hey, you got the bonuses now. So glad you signed up for the list, yada yada. Now you're going to be shifted in whatever language you would use. You're going to be shifted to my regular email list." And then they're kind of dumped into that, and that's the funnel for that, correct?
Yeah, soon you'll receive my regular ongoing emails, and you can unsubscribe at any time or whatever that looks like for you. Thank you so much.
Okay. How often do you have people who sign up for your book bonuses who then write you back and say, like, "I love this, I love this, this helped me put it into practice"? I assume that happens pretty frequently, doesn't it?
Yeah, I do. You want to know why?
Yeah, I would love to.
Because I ask them to rate me. I in my emails, I'll say, "How did you discover me?" or "How did you discover the book?" or where like I ask a question because I want interaction. It's not a relationship if a book is the opportunity for the commencement of a relationship, but it's really just me
Hmm.
talking the whole time, which gets super boring, right? I want to know that there's someone out there that I'm not just talking into a void, writing into a void. So if someone takes the time to opt into my bonuses because they want more, I'm like, hallelujah, who are you? What are you writing? Right? What are you writing about? What are you hoping to do with your book? Right? Some kind of question. And I'll do this in my daily emails as well. Every so often I'll like ask a question. Or every email, I'll ask a question of some kind and I'll get 30 or 40 responses, sometimes from the same people. I have the same 5 people that'll email me every day and make a comment or say something. And then I have new people that make up the whole rest of those numbers that just respond and say hi. And it's coming straight to me. So it's me that gets it, which is cool.
One thing that I have noticed about, and I've noticed this from, I would describe them as highly successful people, however you want to frame that.
Sure.
But I have noticed that none of the people that I know personally who I would think of as highly successful, none of them send really long emails. Like I've noticed you tend to have very short, punchy, like I'm just talking like I don't mean
Yeah.
like on email list, I mean just in back and forth. Um, and I think because this is a podcast for writers, it's something that I think many writers struggle with. And I see it a lot of times is a lot of times people have the impulse to send like these really long detailed emails when they're writing back and forth, which that can take a lot of time. And then when you're replying back and forth, it's like all this time investment. So is there something to be said for in your just email exchanges with people, just keeping it
Yes.
short and punchy?
Yes, because people like that. And so here's the fun. I got an email. Here's 2 paragraphs, 2 short paragraphs from a friend of mine. And the title of the email is The Daily H, which I thought was
Hmm,
hilarious. And it says, "Hey there, just thinking of you and wanted to say, hey, I love getting my little daily write your book series emails. It's like you dropping me a little note every morning."
that's cool.
And I have a friend of mine who tells me that she gets her coffee and spends, the 1 to 3 minutes it takes to read my emails in the morning. It's
Wow,
just how she starts her morning, which
that's
I take
cool.
as such an honor. It's also funny when people say, "You send too many emails, I'm choosing out," which is why I decided to do the Saturday
Right, right.
review, right? So like you're not going to make everyone happy, but you can, if you pay attention to what people are saying, um, then you can adjust a little bit if it makes sense for you to adjust.
Yeah.
I spent an entire year writing a short daily email for Monday through Friday. And then I added in the weekly recap And then people said, oh, I love that. I love it if I miss an email or whatever.
Mhm.
I get busy. I don't know about you, but I get several emails every day. One of them is from you, the daily writer. And I have like 3 or 4 that kind of all come at the same time in the morning, and
Yeah.
they each take just a couple of minutes to read. And so I leave them in there until I've read them. But there are
Yeah.
times when I'm on vacation or busy for a series of days. And so then those 4 emails become 8, become 12, become 16,
Yeah, they
become
add up real
20.
fast.
And then I go, I don't have time to read these. And I go delete,
Mhm.
delete, 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 delete. And some of them have that daily recap. So that on
Yeah.
Saturday, when I lived through the week and it was fine, I can then take some time and go check out the ones that I want to
Yeah.
look at. So I try to pay attention to what I'm doing, how is it being received, what am I hearing about it, and also how am I consuming the content of the people that I like? What are they doing that I like?
Yeah. What
And
ideas can I steal?
right,
Totally.
how can I, how what is it? Is it imitation is the sincerest form of flattery?
Yeah.
Right. So I look at some things and I think, oh, I like it when someone says it's going to take about 4 minutes to read this. Also,
Yeah.
when someone's got a lot in there, I think, oh, I'm going to have to come back to this
Hmm. And you don't
because
always come back to it.
I don't always have time to come back to it. That's a fact. And it's a sad fact because sometimes I'll see something and go, that's really important to me. I want to see it, but it's not
Yeah.
important enough once all the other stuff piles in on top of it. So I
Yeah.
just try to be aware. I don't think, again, people should get paralyzed or become stuck on, am I doing it wrong? Because I think when you know better, you do better. And the longer you do it, the more you adjust and find your rhythm. It took me a really long time. I'm 19 years as an author, and I've been sending a newsletter for a long time. And I started sending the daily emails in year 18.
Hmm.
So I'm a slow learner, but I'm staying in the process.
But you're doing it.
But I figured it out. I figured out what I thought would work, and it seems to be working. So we'll see, right? We'll see if over time my list grows or it doesn't. And then I
Hmm.
may adjust. Sometimes I think, oh, and daily email is a lot, but then I get an email like that, or I have a
Yeah.
conversation like with my girlfriend and I go, okay, well now they're wanting the daily email. If I try to give it up, I'm going to get some pushback on it. Isn't that funny? Right?
Every time I think about quitting this podcast, like, because I batch it every week or two,
Yeah,
and it takes a lot of work to do a podcast, like it takes a lot of work to do anything worthwhile.
that's right.
Every time I think about quitting, then I think about, oh, the people who tell me they listen to this show every day. And I'm like, well, I
That's right.
can't quit now.
That's right.
You
That's right.
know?
And I like the short episodes because I like the short episodes. But then I noticed this
Yeah.
morning as we're recording this, it's Helen's episode.
Mhm.
And so I thought, oh gosh, I'm going to drink that in like a, a tall glass of sweet tea on a hot Texas day, right? Like okay, this one's going to be great. I'm going to savor this one. So what am I going to save it for? Is it going to be for a drive? Is it going to be for a
Oh, that's
workout?
good.
When am I going to listen to this? Because I don't want to listen to it 5 minutes here and 5 minutes there.
Yeah.
It's a longer, those episodes are longer. So I'm going to need about 40 minutes to listen to it. So when will I have 40 minutes that I'll be able to dedicate to
Yeah,
listening?
that's good.
And I look forward to it. So I'm probably going to be cleaning something. I'm going to be doing something that's good for me, Kent.
I will
While I
happily
do it.
accompany you on your cleaning.
Yes, thank you.
I did notice that, I've noticed that sometimes Ryan Holiday on his Daily Stoic podcast has like 2 over 2-hour conversations with people, but then he splits them up into 2 interviews. And so
Mm,
there's almost this thing in the podcasting world of kind of leaning into these really long, super in-depth interviews and breaking them up sometimes. But I do think that's interesting having a show where you have little popcorn episodes, you're in or you're out in 2 or 3 minutes, but then you have the ones that are really long. So it's kind of like, here's a bunch of little appetizers and here's like the buffet.
Well, and I think it also goes to show you what building a brand and a following over time, because
Right.
if it were 40 minutes of a different kind of podcast, I wouldn't make the time to listen. I'd go, oh, it's 40 minutes. I don't have 40
Yeah, I
minutes.
wouldn't. I wouldn't listen to any
I'll
I
just
wouldn't
go
do
on to
anything for
something
40 minutes a
else.
day.
If you can do a 2-hour interview with someone and you look at the metrics of it, the data, and people are staying in for the whole time, then you're doing
Mhm.
something right. And
Yeah.
that means you've got super fans, and the person you're interviewing has super fans and they want to listen. There are certain people that I will say, oh, I discover them, I really like them, and I'll go into my
Mm.
podcatcher and I'll put in their name and
I
I'll
do
find
too.
all the podcasts they've been interviewed on, and I listen to all the podcasts that they've been interviewed on, because there's always that one thing that they say that they've never said before, and
Right.
there it is.
Right.
They let the cow out of the barn.
Yeah. There's always
Right?
that one little thing you're like,
It's
"Oh,
always
that was worth the whole interview right there."
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they'll let you into their psychology and how
Mhm.
they're they're creating the success that they're creating, and I'm really interested in that. I'm really interested in how high achievers and top achievers and successful people are getting things done and managing
Mm.
all the things. That's fascinating to me. So when I discover someone who's crushing it, for lack of a better term, I want to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I want to listen to everything that they're saying so that I can learn from that and apply it to what I'm doing.
That's good. Well, that's what I hope to achieve with my show. I'm
You're
sure
doing
I
it.
have a lot to learn as an interviewer, as anybody does, but, just takes time to get there, I guess.
Well, I
It
think you're
makes it
doing
easy when I have
fantastic.
awesome guests like you. Makes my
Well,
job way
thank
easier.
you. Let's end up where we started. Thank you.
No, thank you.
No,
No,
thank you.
thank you. No, thank you. I have to do it with an
Thank
accent. I don't
you.
know what kind of
And thank
accent that
you.
was, but well, this has been fun. Thanks for making time to do these conversations. I know you have to run in a few minutes, but gosh, Honor, I just appreciate you so much for a variety of reasons. And I always really enjoy getting to promote your books and your content and appreciate so much having you as one of our podcast sponsors. Anybody who listens to this show on a regular basis gets to hear those ads, which I just love running. And I'm just so honored to be a part of your circle. So thank you again.
Well, I feel exactly the same. It's an honor to work with you and work alongside you and write books because you suggest them to me. I mean, I think we're on the third one
Something
now.
like that.
The other day you said, "Do you have this book?" And I went, "Oh, no." All right, I'll write it down because they're all great ideas. If they weren't great ideas, I wouldn't add them to the production calendar, right? But the best-selling book formula and write your first nonfiction book were direct recommendations from you as a writer who said, I need this. I needed this in my life. I need this in my life. People need this. And so thank you for the recommendations. I say keep them coming because I plan on
Okay.
writing a lot more books, and my list right now is finite. So keep all the ideas coming, keep the podcasts coming, and keep your books coming as well. Thank you, Kent.
Well,
Very
my pleasure. The next book I would recommend, one of them would be How Do You Help Writers Think Like a Business Person? I have so many conversations around this, and it's been my primary struggle as a writer. I probably have never said that before, but that's the number one thing I feel like is the thing that really, really holds people back, and artists in general from really having a business. Just thinking like a business person on all the things that that entails, which I feel like I'm discovering.
well, I just wrote it down.
So,
That's number 4.
yeah, that's another one. That's
So
another
when
one.
you say I'm the most frequent guest on your podcast, there's a reason because you
There's a
keep
reason.
suggesting books. I keep writing them. I keep coming back.
Yeah,
So we
yeah,
now know that how this happens.
yeah. There's like a codependency happening here, so
It's all good. I
or
like it.
something. So,
I think it's great. And I
well, thank you
appreciate
again.
it.
This has been fantastic as always, and I can't wait to get these episodes out.
I look forward to it. Thank you so much.